Welcome to the Independent Electric Football League Rules video tutorial. The Iefl is a Philadelphia-based electric football league. The Iefl style of play is front-of-the-base tackling with a flexible, fun, fast-paced rule set. The tutorial video is designed for new coaches and returning coaches to the Philly front-of-the-base play style. Enjoy the tutorial video and remember, play hard, play fast, play smart, and have fun. The front of the base is considered the forward-moving direction of the base, regardless of the position of the figure on the base. If the base moves sideways, the natural front of the base, intended by the manufacturer, will be considered the front of the base. When the defense is set, the offense is allowed any combination of 2 shifts or 2 motions. The defense can react with any player and can only match the action executed by the offense. The defense has 7 seconds to react. A shift is a pivot on the same spot in any direction. On a motion, a back or receiver is allowed to be moved from its original position to either another spot in the backfield, line of scrimmage, or the slot. The backs, including the quarterback and any eligible receivers, are eligible for shifts or motions. Note, if a receiver on the line of scrimmage is shifted, this is ruled as a motion and the defense can react by motioning a defensive player. Receivers or backs can be audibled by being shifted or motioned one at a time, first waiting for the defensive reaction to the first shift or motion. The defense has 3 seconds to react for each shift or motion. If a coach wishes to utilize the audible, he must first call audible before the first shift or motion, or the shifts and motions are to be carried out as normal. Hitmen. 2 players are selected before the first and third quarters as your hitmen. The players' numbers are announced, recorded, and the player is identified to the opposing coach. There can only be 1 player on the field with the number of the hitmen. Any ball carrier that is tackled by either hitman will be subject to the Fumble Rule. Any ball carrier hit by both will be injured, miss the remainder of the half, and the defense will recover the ball. You can have 4 men in the backfield including the QB. Backs must be at least 5 yards behind the back of the QB's base to prevent stacking, unless there are 2 backs in the I formation behind the QB and cannot maintain the 20-yard off the line of scrimmage limit. No backs except for the QB, who has to be 1 yard off the back of the center, can be directly behind any offensive lineman. Backs must be at least 5 yards behind any offensive lineman's base. If the QB is at least 5 yards behind the back of the center's base, then the backs can be beside of the QB or behind. Backs can be no further than 20 yards from the line of scrimmage. On larger fields, the back of the offensive player's bases must be on or inside of the 20-yard mark, with the back of the defensive player's bases being on or inside 40 yards from the line of scrimmage. Once the referee has ruled a reception by a receiver over the line of scrimmage, the receiver can then be pivoted on its imaginary axis in whatever direction the coach desires. Once a coach has pivoted a receiver, he loses the opportunity to turn 2 unengaged players to block. After pivoting a receiver, the defense is allowed to react with any 4 defenders to the receiver pivot. If the pass is over the line of scrimmage and the receiver falls, the coach may pick up the receiver and pivot it, and again no players can be turned to block for the receiver. If 2 defenders are tackling the ball carrier when the field is turned off, a fumble occurs. A coin toss then determines the possession of the ball, with the offense being heads and the defense being tails. If a backwards pass is incomplete and stays in the field of play, each coach is allowed to turn any player to recover the ball. The player first touching the ball within the allotted 3 seconds gains possession of the ball and can be pivoted to run. If the backwards pass goes out of bounds, the ball is marked where the ball went out of bounds. If the ball is not recovered within the allotted 3 seconds, the offense gains possession at the spot of the ball. A player is considered tackle when any part of the ball carrier's base is touched by the front of the defender's base. The ball is placed where the closest front of the tackle player's base is, not the back of the base. After the coin toss to determine who receives the first kickoff, the kicking team lines up at the 35 and the receiving team lines up at the 45. The receiving team must have at least 5 players on the 45-yard line. The kick returner is held off the field until the kick is made. The kicking team then has 2 options. If no kicker is utilized, the field is turned on for 2 seconds to simulate hang time. The kicking team marks the ball anywhere along the goal line, then the receiving team places a returner at the mark. The receiving team also can down the ball and take it at the 20-yard line if they choose to. Any unengaged players from both teams can be shifted for tackling or blocking with the kicking team going first. Each team gets 7 seconds to shift. If a kicker is utilized, the field is turned on for 2 seconds to simulate hang time. The ball is then kicked down the field using the triple threat quarterback. If the ball travels out of the end zone, the kickoff returner is placed at the goal line in line to where the ball traveled out. Any unengaged players from both teams can be shifted for tackling or blocking with the kicking team going first. If the ball hits a receiving team player between the 50-yard line and the 10-yard line, that player is in possession of the ball. The returner is then placed in the end zone. Possession can be taken at the spot where the player was hit. If the ball hits a receiving team player between the 10-yard line and the goal line, the returner may replace the player hit by the kickoff. When a defensive player hits the ball carrier and falls down, the ball carrier breaks the tackle and the field may be turned on until the ball carrier is tackled.